Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name happens to be Johnny Bottles. Over to my left is Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist. You know him, you love him, you may hate him from Twitter. He's famous for Twitter Spaces, don't you know? I'm just throwing that out there, folks. I'm just throwing that out there to you right now. Jesus. He's famous for Twitter Spaces.
Don't talk shit. That's all I'll say.
He leaves a flaming pile of wreckage in his tracks. That's all I can say.
By the way, I did want to cover this real quick before we get to the show. Challenger John is going to another wrestling show he put in the chat. So I want to give him a shout out. Make sure we acknowledge that. I love when people tell us that they're going to a show. John has gone to a lot of these. I'm not going to repeat what he said he had to pay for the nosebleeds. Brother, the best of luck to you, man. I hope you have a great time. Hope you have a great time at the show.
What organization? Smackdown? Oh,
yep.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's big stuff.
Hope it's a good card because I've found that Smackdown is generally a snoozerama outside of all the drama with Trinity.
We got to cover that first.
Oh, we got to cover that. We'll cover that. I'm jumping.
No, well, there's a lot. There's
Don. It was an action-packed week of wrestling, Don. Have you done anything unusual over the weekend?
No, I haven't. I played golf Saturday. By the way, the magic windows are back. Daylight savings. Magically, it's light outside again. Soon we'll see the deer prancing in the back. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Thank
Sherry
you all
hit
very
the
much.
deer switch.
We released them from the neighbor's house. But I did want to cover SmackDown because we've been talking about the doldrums that has been SmackDown. 3 hours is a lot to get through, Bottles.
It's a lot, buddy. It's a lot. It's a slog. And I'm struggling to get through SmackDown with all this. I welcome the Bianca Belair, Naomi,
that's what
Cargill drama. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Yeah, I welcome all that. I welcome something different. They need something to spice up at WrestleMania season, and we're not getting that from a lot of this show. So, what do you think, Don? What do you got?
Well, there were two main things I want to cover. By the way, SmackDown did 1.7 million again. So, for a 3-hour show to pull that kind of number, I don't give a shit what you say about it on the USA Network. That's higher than what most Raw shows were. They were also 3 hours just a year ago.
Absolutely.
That's a strong number. Get Ben if you don't like it. Listen to us now. We're acknowledging that the shows are hard to watch sometimes. We are criticizing WWE for all you people that scream out there. You never say anything bad. We say it all the time. You just don't want to listen.
Right. We do say a lot of things bad about WWE. Some of these shows are just hard to get through, Don. I mean, I fast forward through a lot of Raw.
A lot, man.
A lot of Raw. I mean, it's where do you begin? We'll cover Raw in a minute, but SmackDown's a very, very fast forwardable show.
Very. But this show was good. I want to give credit because there were two parts that were outstanding in this show.
Yes,
absolutely. The Naomi Bianca Belair segment. My wife would not quit raving about it, so I had to go back and watch it again because I had fallen asleep. I was exhausted last Friday. Don't want to get into all of that. This segment was absolute fire. It felt like they had real emotion. There seemed to be real animosity between the two women. It seemed like Bianca was heartbroken that she had been turned on, but we all know Bianca's behind it in the end, don't we, Bottles? Or are you still on the faith that she's not?
No. I thought she was behind it the whole time.
Okay. I think she put Naomi up to this, and they're all putting on a facade right now. And come WrestleMania, which, by the way, let's talk about that real quick. A month ago, you and I were saying, everybody have patience. We know it's not looking great right now. We know it's not looking strong right now for Mania. We got a long build. It's not the first week in April like it usually is. It's almost at the end of April. We kept saying, there's a long way to go. They haven't told all the stories yet. They're not setting this up yet.
They still got a full month. They got a full month.
Here we are.
Mania.
And here we are. We got storylines popping everywhere.
And like we said, it's going to be a couple three-ways, Don.
There is.
3 ways where you least expect it. There's going to be some 3 ways.
But the Naomi Bianca segment was absolute fire to me. I thought it was amazing. I enjoyed it. She left, and then out came Jade Cargill again and just wiped the floor with Naomi. Just kicked the absolute teetotal shit out of her.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. I mean, And she always, I don't know if she picks her own gear out or they pick it out for
Oh,
her.
dude.
The gear is just exemplary. The
It is.
presentation is exemplary. But the problem with Jade Cargill is once the bell rings, I think she gets a little crossed up.
Yeah.
She gets a little confused in the ring. I don't know. She can't remember the spots they're supposed to do. I don't know what it is. But if she's going to be in a feud with somebody, one of these two girls, then she needs a ring general to talk her through the whole thing. And I think that would be Bianca Belair. If it goes that way.
I think Naomi can walk her through this match they're going to have at Mania because they're going to have this match. And I think Naomi's going to sell a lot. I don't think Bianca gets involved in this match. I am actually looking forward to seeing Jade get back in the ring. I want to see if she's improved somewhat. I've not been overly impressed with the few times we've seen her. There are some huge holes in her work that I'd like to see get better. I think she can get better. I hope she can get better because when she comes out there and just does her part of the absolute Diesel badass moment, it's amazing, man. She can pull that off with no problem. It's not hard to look great when you're that big and you're that, jacked, and your only job is to throw a chick around. You're going to look good when you do that. You know what I mean?
Do you believe the rumors of unrest in the WWE women's locker room regarding Jade Cargill, that she's got an attitude? Her and Shayna Baszler exchanged words. Remember, she was choked out and she tapped out in a match with Baszler.
I don't really put a whole lot of stock in that because if it was that big of a problem, you would probably hear a whole lot more than something that comes out, 4 or 5 months later. Right?
Exactly.
Like, come on.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. I think when they're dry on news stories for WWE, they like to invent their own. Well, because they have no other contacts. They have no contacts in WWE.
Did you hear
what does it? That would be Meltzer has no contacts.
Do you want to know what the latest rumor was that came out today? Was what they were going to call. The rumor floating was that they were going to call the John Cena Rock duo the Rock and Soul Connection. My God in heaven. Even if that's true, thank God somebody squashed it. I just can't see that being true. That just sounds so horrible. The Rock and Sock Connection was a joke in the 90s. It was a real hokey thing. It was funny. Everybody got a good laugh out of it. But to think that's a serious thing, come on, man. Don't be that guy. Don't be that person.
These dirt sheet websites, and you know who they are, all the repeat offenders. They've got no ends on WWE. It's a tight ship. Everything's locked down information-wise now that Dijak's gone. And what else are they going to do? They're going to make things up. And who can say no? Who can say no? Who can say the Rock and Soul Connection wasn't a thing when you follow it up with, but that idea was shot down by corporate, by creative?
Yes.
Denisha Lane, $9.99. Thank you, Denisha, for the 10 spot. Hey, Donna Ball's your favorite girl. We'll see if that's right. I bet Don saw pockets turn off the TV and said, TK, go, you suck. And this show. Ha, much love. Hope you guys had a good day today. It was a good day. It was a banner day down here in the Central Florida location that I'm operating out of. The Bottles Bungalow, the magic windows are lit up. Don must have had a good day. He was rinsing out his liver earlier. I interrupted him. He had that in the sink, in the kitchen sink, rinsing it out.
Thank you very much, Anisha. Super Chat is open, everybody. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. That show, though, against SmackDown, the other big show, because the women had an amazing moment. The women had the best moment on the show, in my opinion. They really did. They stole that show.
They did. I enjoyed it.
I also want to put out, and John, I see you there, pal. I'll get to you in just a second. But I do want to also put out, they fixed the U.S. title belt, and not the way that they wanted to. I think they had a WrestleMania moment in mind for LA Knight in the end. But Shinsuke Nakamura's father or his brother passed away. Apparently, he's having a really hard time with that, and they're giving him some time off.
I believe, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't believe this was expected. Yeah, it was sudden. So they're sending him on down, back home so he can spend some time, get over it, really heal. They put the U.S. title back on LA Knight. So now they've got to heat up an opponent for him real fast here the next month and a half. I'm interested to see where this goes.
They weren't doing anything with Shinsuke and that belt.
They weren't.
They really weren't.
Well, here's the thing, though. Do you think that I honestly believe that his brother Sutton passing did a lot to damage whatever they're going to do with this run to Mania?
Wasn't a brother. He treated him like a brother. It was like a good friend. I think the guy, if I'm not, I might be mistaken. I think this guy gave him his start in the wrestling business.
From what I've read, it's his actual brother. Everything I've read says it's actual brother.
That's not his real brother.
Okay, well, that's just what I've read. Anyway, I feel like that really deterred what they were going to do with this, rivalry. I was curious where it was going. Who do you think they fire up now? Do you think it's somebody from the bloodline? Do you think Solo comes and gets a U.S. title to sort of redeem himself? That's sort of where my thought process is. There's history there. He's got beef with them.
The bloodline's floating around LA Knight on the periphery. I would think this is their opportunity to give Jacob Fatu a belt. An opportunity for LA Knight to prove that he's a team player, to lose that title right away to Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. Yes, he can be a team player instead of being a little overbearing backstage like the rumor is that he is. Not that he's a bad guy. He's just a little overbearing.
No. But
in the back of the day, and still to this day, I might add, you gotta be very, very careful of your spot. You gotta look after your spot that you are on the card, the spot that you're in. You know how the old the veterans were. That doesn't work for me, brother. There was a lot of that going on back in the day.
Right.
John JID 999. Thanks for the 199, John. How do y'all see Fenix coming in eventually, y'all? Well, they say the rumor going around is he's going to be paired up with his brother Pentagon. Or Penta, as they say, as he is now, and they have the rights to the name Lucha Brothers.
Well, here's my thing, right? And they had a moment on Monday Night Raw. Let's cut to that real quick, where Chad Gable, everybody was freaking out.
It's Ray Fenix
there.
It's Ray Fenix.
That's who that is.
It's a tease, folks. It's a tease.
It was a tease.
Yes.
That's exactly what it was. It was a tease to make you think that was him. It was done very well. They cut to the backstage real quick, and they're like, Chad, we know it was you. We know it was you. And in the background, some schmuck's getting arrested with the same outfit. It was glorious. I liked the way they did that. I didn't know where it was going at first. I got to tip my hat. That was a good job. I honestly think they're going to bring him in when his brother is in a match, getting overwhelmed because of outside interference. And that's going to be his introduction. By the way, I look forward to in this tag match so badly, because the tag team division needs such a shot in the arm right now, not just in the WWE, but especially in the WWE.
Well,
AEW is sort of in a lull as well.
I didn't like Penta or Ray Fenix when they're in AEW. I've warmed up a little bit to Penta now because he's in WWE, but not all the way. I mean, he still does his bullshit, getting himself over at the expense of his opponent. So with Ray Fenix coming in, will it be any different? I don't know.
It's
I don't know
change
if they're
somehow.
actually will they get beaten down and do a clean job for somebody and then get the win in the end? I would predict American Made. Gable's boys, American Made would be the opponents.
That would make the most sense
for these two guys. Yes, I mean, what are you gonna do? Put Dragon Lee in there with them and have those three go against Gable
please,
and American Made.
LWO, can we get rid of that now? Can we just
pal? That may happen after WrestleMania, pal.
Okay.
Don't answer your phone. Cruz del Toro, don't answer your phone.
You keep saying that like a prick.
Dude, I'm just saying, Cruz del Toro, don't answer your freaking phone, pal. If
Denisha,
you get a phone call.
I see your comments, Denisha. We're going to get to AEW in a minute. I saw the ratings. We're going to get there, but we got to talk about the shit show that was this AEW pay-per-view this past weekend. I got major issues with some of the things that happened in this show. I got a lot of issues.
Well, let's preface this with one thing. It wasn't all bad. It wasn't all good. And when the stuff that wasn't good was horrendous. That's all. So
here's a couple of things that just really stuck out to me, right? Mm-hmm. MJF gives Hangman Page a tombstone on the outside through a steel chair that's standing up, and that's not even the go-home spot. They get in the ring and do some more dumb shit. Then we get Hangman Page literally dropping MJF on his face. No protection, square on his face.
Right.
Thank God he's okay. That had me a little bit nervous watching that.
Did you notice, not jumping ahead, did you notice Hangman's face looked a little swollen last night?
Yeah, it did. I did notice that. Yeah. Alexander says, hey, Bottles of Don, Cowboys from X. How's it going? How you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the $2 spot. We appreciate you coming onto the show.
Absolutely.
It's going well, bud. It's been a hell of a week. I'm going to talk some wrestling now real quick. That was one part that really got me. The part that really just made me go, I can't watch this anymore was the women's match. The women's gore fest. Call me whatever you want. Call me a sexist pig. Call me old-fashioned. I am not a fan of women bleeding in a wrestling match. I'm not a fan of women combat sports in general when they get bloody as hell. I can sit and I can watch a good fight, but when it starts to become a bloody mess, I'm usually out. And that's not just women, by the way. That's all sports.
Right.
If I'm watching a boxing match and the guy gets busted over his eye and that thing is gashed open like 3 inches and the damn manager won't throw in the bell, I'm screaming at the TV, stop the damn fight. The dude is busted open. What are we doing?
I could believe that they wouldn't stop the fight. I could believe you're screaming at your TV.
Okay, you did. But this shit got out of hand. As soon as the match started, they jump-started by having a table spot off the stage with both of them going through it. Then they're both bleeding like stuck pigs in the ring. And then we have a blood sport moment where the girls dip their hand in glue and then dip their hand in glass and then start punching each other. Why is this a thing, Bottles?
It was something that wasn't needed. Absolutely not needed. The breaking the champagne bottle over Tony Storm's
Cooter.
I'll use that as cooter. Yes, was not needed either. God Almighty, 50% of this was not needed whatsoever. And and when they gigged themselves, Tony Storm even looked up, and she looked up. And the blood's just running down to her eyes, and she said the F word because she knew she cut herself too deep.
Block Larry corrected me. It's kickboxer, not blood sport. So thank you for correcting me on that. I couldn't remember which one it was. I knew it was an 80s Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Either way, this thing got way too out of hand. Even if you want to have a little bit of blood in a women's match, I can see it. But this was just egregious, Bottles. This was so far over the line. It's hard to even talk about. And I went back and watched it. There's no way you can tell me this was a good wrestling match in any way, shape, or form. It was a pure backyard mud show bunch of bullshit from start to finish.
Yes, it was. But it achieved their purpose. Everyone was talking about it that day, the next day, and 5 days later, look at us. We're still talking about it.
It's not a good way. We're not talking about it in a good way.
We're not talking about it in a good way. But then again, people talk about AEW, and I'd say 75% of it's not in a good light.
Yeah,
not in a good light.
I want to talk about that. They left the ring a mess. Bring that picture up real quick for the next match, because then we had the steel cage match. I don't know how good this is going to come across the screen, but everybody take a look. You can see the middle of that ring looks like a syphilis infection waiting to happen.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that is disgusting, man. There's no way you can tell me.
Fletcher up top, by the way.
Which, by the way, I'm glad we brought this up, because at this spot, they do one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen in my life, where they both sat there forever, set up the stupid move, talked about the move.
Fletcher helped Ospreay to get in the position.
Then did some dumbass move to where, to this day, I cannot tell you who took this move. I can't tell you who was the recipient and who was the guy that was supposed to take it.
Who was the pitcher? Who was the catcher?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell we were doing here.
Was it a Spanish fly off the top?
I don't know if it was a midget mulligan. I don't know what the hell this was supposed to be, but it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I just don't get it, man. And this was sort of where I was going with this as well, is it seems to me that these guys in this company feel like they've always got to outdo themselves in the next match. They got to take bigger risks and do dumber moves. Just, there's going to be a point, and I'm terrified to say it, but there's going to be a point where somebody's going to get seriously injured doing this stuff, Bottles.
Well, people have been seriously injured doing this stuff, and they've kept it all hush-hush. Look at Sky Blue. Sky Blue destroyed her leg, and she broke it, but she just didn't break it. She did something else too. She's out for what, 9 months now with a broken leg?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't understand what the point of this was. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like what I was seeing. We also had the Kenny Omega match real quick. I want to talk about that. He won the International Women's Convention title, so good for him. Whatever the hell that's worth in
the Shriners
New
Conference
Zealand
title. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what that's worth. And then we get to the main
hospital
event.
Title.
Exactly. Then we get to the main event, which was Moxley versus Cope. And out of nowhere, Christian tags in.
They changed the mat for this. Did you notice? They changed the mat for this.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Yes. Well, they had to, because somebody came back and was like, I just got gonorrhea. Can we change the mat? Shit's out of control.
I got crabs, AIDS, and a bad rash from this mat.
I thought for sure they were going to crown a new champion with this. I thought for sure Tony Khan was like, I've seen the light. This mock shit ain't working out. Let's do something with this. Nope. Moxley chokes out Christian. Horrible ending. Flat finish. God awful. Edge just completely did not take a DDT midway through this thing.
Did you see
it was
that?
A shit show. Oh my God, it's a shit show.
It's like he didn't want to go down for the DDT, or he couldn't because he was physically incapable of doing it. And he just like sort of fell over. He was leaning forward and continued to lean forward and forward until he just fell over. Moxley slid right off of the DDT hold because he thought Edge was going with him, and it didn't happen. And it was just very, very egregious hijinks in this match. Christian cashed in his contract
and
for the heavyweight title match. And failed. And that was supposedly backstage. That was their way of just ending the contract then because he grew tired of it.
That's been drawing out forever.
They didn't know when to bring it in. Forever. He's had it for like 9 months. Didn't know when to bring him in for this or what to do with it. So they just said, we'll just kill it right now. And the best part about this match was Moxley's got Christian in a chokehold. And Christian is edging towards the fallen Edge. He's laying on his back. He puts his hand on Edge.
Yeah.
And the referee starts counting a pin. That's the only good thing about this match because it was a good twist. But after that.
And then he gets choked out. He tries to put his hand back on Edge, and he gets choked out anyway by the undisputed, unbeatable champion, everybody's favorite plumber. So there you go.
They've painted themselves into a corner, Don, with all this creative control that they've given these people. They've given Moxley, Edge,
allegedly
Monet. Well, Monet's definitely got it, and so does Edge. Creative control. Moxley is just we don't really know yet. And
what she got, Bottles?
What's that, Moxley?
What does Monet have?
Monet's got creative control.
Oh, okay.
She's got creative control. Don't you know, Donna? Say hello to your CEO.
Oh, God.
Aloha.
We're moving on. We're moving on.
This is what sank the ship with WCW. One of the many things that sank the ship. With Hogan and all these other guys having creative control.
Yeah.
And the immortal words, that doesn't work for me, brother. As Monet would say, that doesn't work for me, brother.
So that was the pay-per-view coverage real quick. I want to cover that. I also want to talk about Raw real quick. Raw was good from start to finish, I thought, this week. It was really strong. I know there were people that were like, oh, God, it's failing on Netflix, blah, blah, blah. It did 3.1 million, not this week, but last week. I'd say they bounced back pretty strong. They seem to be holding that 3 million rating. By the way, from what I've read, they're supposed to be in India in April. Holy shit, what's that going to do? I'm really curious what's going to happen when they go to India.
They're starved for wrestling. They're starved for wrestling in India.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but India's got a humongous wrestling fan base. They're bigger than American fans as far as that goes. They really are. The numbers are much larger.
Yeah, Scott Steiner about that.
I remember
Did
Bret
you hear
Hart
that story?
back in the day. I didn't, but I remember Bret Hart going back there back in the day. All the videos I've seen of him there.
TNA went to India, and it was a huge thing. And Scott Steiner came out with the siren going and the chainmail, and people are yelling at him. He chased people into the stands. They were scared to death of Scott Steiner. He's lifted up the metal barricades and thrown them down. He was going berserk. Somewhere on YouTube, there's footage of this because it was broadcast. Yeah, Scott Steiner was. They were living in fear of that man. It was epic. But go ahead, Don.
But we talked a little bit about Raw, 3.1 million. The Chad Gable moment, that was fun. I enjoyed it. There were a couple of big moments I want to talk about. I thought Cody Rhodes had a really good promo. I enjoyed his promo.
Yep.
He was ripping into Cena. He was ripping into The Rock. He said, but you're not here tonight, are you? You're not here today. You made fun. I mean, I just thought it was a great promo. He called him out. I can't wait to see Cena on Monday Night Raw. If John Cena doesn't kick the shit out of, oh God, his name's escaping me right now. Yes, R-Truth. And it's going to be a huge missed opportunity. R-Truth has got to come out and confront his hero. I can't wait to see where this goes if they do this. It's going to be amazing.
Cody Rhodes is going to have to carry a feud on with two guys that are they're barely part-timers. They're
Right.
barely part-timers. How will this happen? How can this happen? How can you do this between now and WrestleMania? They're both out doing whatever. Seen this film in a movie in Bug Tussle somewhere, Bosnia or whatever, wherever he's at overseas.
Yeah.
And some, Slavic country over there. How's this going to take place?
Well, the other part is that this is the Raw that's going to be over in Europe next week. So
Scotland, right?
Tune in at Scotland, England. I don't know. Tune in at 3:00. I can't wait to watch it, man. I'm going to go in the garage, start hitting the weights, hanging and banging, brother, and I'm going to turn this on and watch it for a while. It's on. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun thing, 3:00 start time.
The next 3 or 4, I believe, are all
jacked
up with the start times. 3, one's at 3, one's at 4, one's at 3.
It's the European tour. So they've been they used to do the European tour before Mania, now or after Mania. Now they're doing it before. So that's a little bit of a switch. I'm looking forward to that. The other part of this show that got my attention was Bianca Belair comes out with Io Sky in the ring because Io Sky was having her moment. I'm not big on Io Sky. I'm not a big fan of hers. She doesn't move the needle for me. I get that she can do some cool shit, but the language barrier is an issue, Bottles. It just is.
Absolutely it is. Of course it is.
Okay.
But she can communicate a little bit just to get her point across and slap somebody in the face. And we all know that she's the Saigon whore. The Saigon whore that bit my nose off. Yes.
So this was good. I want to get to this because this really was where I was like, oh shit, we got something here. Rhea Ripley comes storming out to the ring.
Yes, she does.
And she's completely ignoring Io Sky 1. She is all up in Bianca Belair's face, mad as hell, telling Bianca, you cost me this title. You're the reason I lost. It's all your fault. You're trash. I can't believe you did this. Io tries to get involved, and she shoves her in the floor like she's trash.
Did you notice that Belair cut a promo backstage the past week saying it was all her fault that she lost the title? It was her own fault. Now she's changed her tune. It's Bianca Belair's fault. Three-way for the women's championship, the Raw
hold on,
Women's
I'm not done
Championship.
yet. I'm not done yet.
What?
So then Bria shoves down Io Sky. She gets back up. She's getting pissed. Yeah. Now Bianca's firing back. Now Io tries to break her up. Bianca shoves her down. Io gets up all pissed off, slaps them both, storms out of the ring, screaming at the top of her lungs, I'm the champion. I'm the champion. Like, these bitches give me no respect. I enjoyed this for what it was. It was entertaining as hell. Right. And you've been saying it for a while. They are setting up this three-way, and it's more apparent now than ever. They really are.
Right. It's also going to be a three-way.
Wait, don't you ruin it. Don't, because that's next. We're going to get there.
I'm just saying.
Trying to run to the end of the race. We haven't even started at the cage match yet.
We told everybody months ago it's going to be 3 ways for these matches.
So next, to end the show, this was one of the best matches I've seen in a while with CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
Yes.
They had their cage match in Madison Square Garden. By the way, the crowd at Madison Square Garden, wow, you guys are amazing. They were into the show from start to finish, cheering like hell. Mm-hmm. Could you tell they were more pro CM Punk than they were Seth Rollins, it felt to me?
Sure.
Okay.
Because Rollins is the heel in all this.
Right. The other part about this that got my attention was the superplex off the top of the cage, which, believe me, it wasn't off the top of the cage. I get that. But are you really wanting to risk 2 of your top stars to do a stupid move like that? No. This is how you make it look great. He suplexed him from the top turnbuckle and took CM Punk, he being Rollins, took CM Punk off the top of the cage, so it gave it that dramatic look. They had 400 finishers in this match. When it started, it just felt like it felt like it really mattered to both these guys. I was able to suspend all my disbelief on any of this. There were even moments where they were swinging at each other and completely missing because the other one was ducking. I bought that, Johnny Bottles. Was like, well, shit, that's what happens in a real fight. You might swing and miss because the other guy's trying to get the hell out of your way. They beat the hell out of each other for the first 10 minutes of this match.
Right.
I thought it was glorious. I can't say it enough. This is what the only thing they didn't get involved was blood by using the cage. That's my only downfall. Other than that, I got no complaints.
Were they sitting on top of the cage and talking to one another about how they're going to do a Spanish fly off the top of the cage? They weren't? Okay.
I was impressed with what they did. I enjoyed this. The other part that really got my attention was Rollins was the first one to start heading towards the door. It looked like he was going to leave and win. And CM Punk's screaming at him, take the coward's way out. Go ahead and leave. Just walk out the cage, you coward. I thought that was a great part of this whole story was you're a coward for not wanting to fight me and pin me in the middle of this ring. You'd rather just escape my wrath. And then Punk had it done to him later in the match with Rollins. This thing was wild as shit. Mm-hmm. And then the ending, the crowd gave it away. If you were paying attention to the crowd starts erupting. You could hear the crowd starting to blow. The commentators aren't saying a thing. And all of a sudden the camera pans over and there's Roman Reigns. He snatches Rollins out of the ring, kicks his ass all over the place, then goes in the ring and kicks the shit out of Punk. So here we go, Bottles. The 3-way's coming.
Yes, it is. Did you see Heyman in the ring?
Yes.
He was consoling CM Punk.
And looking very, very concerned.
Yes. And Roman looked back and just laughed and shook his head.
I don't know where this is going,
Layers.
But I am surely going, dude, I am surely going to enjoy the ride on this one. Surely going to enjoy this ride. I can't wait.
Wouldn't this be amazing if they could do something like this in AEW with Ospreay and Fletcher and Mark Davis, that fat piece of shit, Mark Davis, as you called him last week, that fat piece of shit.
Dude, he just stands there looking like a waffle cone.
All hairy.
Hairy ass waffle cone. It's the worst, man.
They could do something with that in AEW.
But they won't.
If they had a booker and a writer who could do this.
But they won't.
They won't.
But I did want to cover NXT real quick. You watched NXT. I didn't have enough time. I caught some of the highlights. They did 732,000, which is low compared to what they've been doing. I'm not sure what might have caused that. I know there's a lot of basketball going on right now. There were a lot of champions. Yeah, there was a lot of championship games Monday. They've been pulling in 790, 800, so I'm not sure what it was. But they still pulled in 732. And there was a time where they were on USA, that would have been a dream number. But I've heard from a good friend of ours, Ron, Desert Ron, said this thing felt like a pay-per-view show.
It did.
What did you think?
He's exactly right. Felt like a pay-per-view show. Fraxium versus the Hardy Boys. Great match. And I'd have to say Oba Femi, Black Lesnar versus Moose from TNA. A fantastic match. This guy had Moose, who's a big man, on his shoulders like he's going to give him a Lex Luger backbreaker. Then he pressed him up in the air over his head and walked from the center of the ring, walked to the edge of the ring, and just dropped him onto the floor over top of the ropes. It was epic.
Awesome. Brother Fluff is here. Hold up real quick. He put in $5. I want to put this out there.
I thought that crowd was shouting RTC, and I thought that Right to Censor was turning W. Yes.
Thank you, Brother Fluff. Appreciate the $5. Super chat is open. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate you all coming here. Hit the notifications button, the ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling.
Yes. The main event was a female main event. It was Stephanie Vacker versus Julia.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Belt versus belt. And because Julia has a visa issue, she's got to go back to Japan and get her visa problem cleared up.
Is that what it is?
It's a twofold reason why she dropped the title. The visa issue, she's got to get cleaned up, and she's injured. And they didn't mention the extent of her injury, but she wrestled a match like nothing was wrong with her whatsoever. Vacker won both titles, not just the North American title. She retained that. She's now the NXT Women's Heavyweight Champion. So she's going to have to forfeit the North American title. They're not going to let her keep both belts. I have a tournament for that probably. Or
do not do that. Do not say that word.
A multi-woman match for that.
Do not say that.
They're putting all their eggs in the basket of Stephanie Vacker, pal. She's speaking English pretty well. She can get by with interviews. Beautiful girl, and she can wrestle her ass off.
She can move her ass, pal. She can go. I saw her highlights. She can go.
You saw her what?
I'm excited. Just calm down there, killer. Don't become a Cheeto sexual. It's unbecoming.
My fingers aren't orange, pal.
Okay. It's time to get into AEW's nonsense from last night. And, pal, there was a lot of nonsense last night. 628,000 viewers watched this show. And I swear to God, if you'd have told me that was going to be a number, I'd have told you were a liar. Because when I saw this show from front to back, there was nothing about this show that said, I'm coming back to watch it. It was Scatman-Do, and I was out of there. Didn't even stick around to watch the rest of the main event because who gives a shit? This thing sucked. We had the return of Johnny Cage from 1987 or Glacier, the WCW show. This thing was so full of bad ideas. I have no idea what the hell I was watching last night.
Glacier does work there, by the way. He does work backstage. Glacier does.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
They were at a show in Fresno. This place holds 16,000 for boxing and wrestling. They had 3,481 tickets distributed at Showtime. Why do they keep doing this, Bottles? Why do they keep going to these arenas, these huge shows? By the way, this was after the pay-per-view, so I can see where in Tony Khan's delusional head, he was like, I'm going to sell 10,000 tickets after my pay-per-view. No one's coming.
We're going to be hot. We're hotter than a piston.
No one's coming to this shit, man. It's insane to me.
I cannot believe. I can't believe that they did over 600,000. With this show, with no Big Bang Theory leaded. Did you have the Max feed, by the way, on YouTube television?
Or that's what I was saying. I had TBS. I had
the
TBS.
You didn't have a Big Bang Theory lead in, did
you? Nope. Didn't have any of that. When I cut in, it went straight to it. I'm the scat man. Skipping it up.
Go ahead.
Kenny Omega starts this thing off, your new international champion. So I wanted to ask you, there was a time when we had a clear pecking order in AEW on where the championship stood, right? You had the AEW Heavyweight Championship, the TBS Championship, and then the Atlantic, which then became the International, which then became the Baker's Dozen Championship. Now it seems like the International is getting elevated above the TNT Championship.
Yes, the International Championship is now going to be known as the Working at the Car Wash Championship. Because he came out dressed like he was just got off. He just got off at the car wash.
I wrote this down.
Car wash.
I wrote this down. Why is he out here in his gym attire?
But dude, I told you
it's embarrassing, man.
He looks like if you remember the movie The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, I do.
He was stuck in that teleportation chamber with a fly, and his jeans got mixed up. Kenny Omega looks like if you took Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels from the 80s and put them in the Fly's teleportation chamber. And that's what would walk out. Just an amalgam of those two put together with the bad hair and the beating up the eyes of Marty Jannetty and the abilities of Shawn Michaels and the wardrobe of
the guy at the gym. The guy at the gym. That's what he was. By the way, my magic windows are getting darker, folks. I'm pushing the button.
Sherry,
so you all know.
Sherry.
I just want to get to this next part because this thing it went on. They announced that there's going to be another tournament to figure out who can fight him because Tony Khan loves a tournament, pal.
Why isn't there a tournament? Why isn't there a tournament to see who's going to take on Moxley?
I don't know. No, because they already got a number one contender. That was the whole contract signing between him and
Cope.
No, him and
Oh
Swerve
no.
And,
oh no.
Hold on, listen to me.
I know what you're going to say.
Swerve and Ricochet.
Oh no.
We're going to get to that in a minute. Calm down.
Next week. It's already been announced.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Why?
It's later in the show, Bottles. But he says this is the part that got me when Kenny Omega's saying this. He says, "I want to make sure whoever wins this belt is the best wrestler alive." Is he saying he's going to lose it? What the hell was he trying to say here? I didn't understand this promo in the least. What was he trying to say?
He was basically, it sounded like he was saying, well, the guy's going to come in and take this belt from me. I want to make sure he's the best wrestler alive.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
No. None of them, whatever they do and say never makes any sense. This is what happens when you just send them out there. Guys, say whatever you want. Just make sure you tell them that we're going to have a tournament and the guy's going to face you. And
I have no.
That's it. I bid you adieu.
That bullshit.
The finger, bang, bang. Hello.
Frisco.
Hello.
I'm Kenny Omega.
I'm working at the car wash.
Look at my tights.
I got my yellow shoes on.
Dildo Baggins is my friend.
I'm leaving a snail trail around the ring.
I just can't deal with whatever this guy's doing. None of this made any sense. It went nowhere. I didn't care to finish watching any of this. I was glad it ended. Thank God.
Whatever he's selling, I'm not buying. I'm not buying.
I tried.
He's a great wrestler, but whatever he's selling, I'm not buying. He's a great wrestler, but all the other stuff, when a bell's not ringing, all the other stuff sucks. It's all horrible.
I can't get past what happened on. I said, okay, I'm going to give Kenny Omega a fresh start last night. I'm going to give Kenny Omega some fresh eyes. I'm going to act like I've never seen him before. And when he walked out, I said, he doesn't look the part. If you're going to come out, at least either have your ring gear on or look presentable, like you're going into public, like you're somebody. He looked like nobody. I didn't like this. None of this made any sense. I'm back on my Kenny hate train. On to the ops.
Once again, presentation is everything. That's going to be a running theme in my commentary throughout this review of this show. Presentation is everything. When the Hurt people come out, they look like stars. They
do
look like stars.
They feel like stars.
They feel like stars. When the regular AEW crew comes out, they seem like they're the guys who put the ring together.
Who the fuck are these guys?
Oh, well, I put the ring together, boss.
No, I'm actually in the ring. What?
I'm in the ring. I put the ring together. I'm under the ring. I'm in the ring.
The ops come out. This is your favorite new group, and they have a stare down with Kenny Omega. Because why not? One of the guys in the ops, the guy, Shibata, the Brainless Wonder, he's going to be in the tournament, apparently. So they had to have their staring contest. And they come out and they stare down 3 goons. I said 2 goons and a sunken-eyed meth head. Did you see this clown?
They were all jobbers. They were legit jobbers.
But did you see the third guy? His eyes were so sunken in his head. I was like, somebody check that bitch for a pulse. I don't think he's breathing.
The Walking Dead, pal. The Ops versus the Walking Dead. I like the one guy had some moxie there who was screaming. The little guy on the other side, he was screaming every time he ran into the ring. And then he got tripped by Samoa Joe.
Hook comes into the match, and every time Hook comes in,
you're going to break this whole thing down. You're going to break this whole fucking match.
This is all I'm going to say.
This match is
This is all I'm going to say. Hook comes in for a joke spot. And every time he comes in, he's throwing other people around like he's the baddest man to ever walk God's green earth. I can't deal with this guy, man. I don't want to see this guy anymore. Nothing about him is believable. They win the squash match. And by the way, the Ops have the most awful music in AEW right now next to Kenny Omega. It's just awful. It's the drizzling shits.
I'll never forget one time we were having a conversation. Donna and I were having a conversation. They changed Kenny Omega's music, but then he's got the old music back. The old music is a whole lot better than what he was using before. I'm thinking, you actually got the music memorized for this garbage?
It's hard not to.
Oh, my God. Generally, I'm fast-forwarding through the music, through the entrance.
I'm going to listen to the entrance. So that was the coverage on that. By the way, thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Super Chat's open. Hit the notifications button.
Ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling.
Ricochet has his segment next. And I just wrote, it wasn't awful, but the promos are becoming very similar. If you notice this, it's starting to sound the same.
Because he got a good he got praise backstage probably from a couple of those wacky promos he was cutting. So he said, I'll give you more of the wackiness. And that's what it is. He's riding it out until they tell him not to. He looks like an idiot with the baseball cap on backwards.
Yes.
And the
suit. Still don't get that.
It's the same suit.
I don't understand. Look, I've given him credit where it's due. He's had some good moments. But now it's just they're all starting to sound the same, Bottles. It's all starting to sound the same to me. I don't see any differentiating in what he's saying. It's the same message every time. It's the same tone.
Yeah. He looks like the lone Tate brother, Andrew Tate's brother. He looks like Andrew Tate's little brother who chewed too much lead paint off the crib rail. That's what he looks like.
It's a little harsh, pal.
Well, that's why I feel about Ricochet, pal. He's when the bell rings, he's gold. When he's just standing there with a microphone in his hand, it's time to change the channel. I don't care what they say, whatever he does, it's horrible. All the promos. Okay. He's warming up. I'm warming up to Ricochet. I'm warming up to him, people are saying. He's horrible. Horrible.
We get a Swerve segment next, but before that, they announced the AEW Mox versus Cope next week. So we're going to get this match on free TV next week. And honest to God, it feels like they're going to drop the title because they've been watching WWE switch titles on live TV. And I swear it feels like that's coming. I swear it feels like that's coming.
What, Cope, 52 years old, is going to have the title? What, Jericho's
we're
busy?
headed there.
Is Jericho tied up? Is he busy?
No, he was on this show, and it was
put
awful.
the belt on Jericho. If you're going to put it on a man in his early 50s.
He's already got a title, the Ocho. He's got that title that's not on TV anymore. Anyway, that's what they talked about. Then we get the Swerve segment. By the way, next week's match is supposed to be a street fight. So we'll see where that, which means we're too old. I'm an old guy. I can't do shit in the ring anymore. Let's start rattling some furniture around and bringing out some bullshit. And we'll have one of John Moxley's favorite garbage matches. Because that's what we're going to get.
They cover up their inadequacies in the ring with a street fight because they can't go anymore. Edge is feeling it. He's holding his neck. He's holding his back. He can hardly get up off the canvas. He can hardly go down for a DDT. Well, he can't go down for a DDT. Prove that on Sunday.
He ain't taking that bump, dude. I'm not taking that. On the win. You want to know what the rumor is? As Moxley went to give it to him, he yelled out, "That doesn't work for me, brother."
I can say. I can believe that. I can believe that.
Anyway,
Don, what do you look? When the Moxley Edge feud is over, I'm sorry, the Moxley Cope feud is over.
Cope. What is Cope and not Dope?
Where do you see this going? What do you
next
for
I
Copeland?
don't have a. Here's what I think is going to happen because that's the next segment. Swerve segment. He says on April 6th, which by the way, that's only 3 weeks away, I believe.
That's
maybe 4 weeks away.
Dynasty.
That's the next pay-per-view.
AEW
He
Dynasty,
says he's going to challenge for the belt. Cope interrupts. I said, "What the hell is going on with Cope? Why is he all over my screen every week now? He's everywhere and nowhere at once." He says, "I'm going to fight you because I'm going to win this thing." And I just said, give it back to Swerve, man. At least he's original. I feel like I'm watching a rewind from 2002 with Edge every time he's on my television. I didn't like his last run in the WWE. We've talked about this openly. That match with Randy Orton was the match that would never end. It was awful. And now he's having these matches in AEW. It's just time to go home, pal.
They should do something
You don't have
different.
to go home, but you got to get the hell off my TV.
Do something different. Put the belt on somebody that nobody would expect. Brian Cage. Put the belt on Brian Cage. Why not? Callis is his manager. Did you see what that kid did yesterday? When the guy dove at him.
Yes, we're going to talk about it. Please don't. We're going to talk about it. You're just running around the track like a chicken with its head cut off.
Put the belt on somebody that no one would suspect. Nobody would suspect.
You've been watching AEW too much. Your thoughts are running everywhere. Have you been hanging out with Tony Khan?
Pal, I was watching a show last night. I thought I was watching Collision. Was today Saturday? I thought, honey, is today Saturday? I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Well, no, this is when it gets
bad.
Good.
It was as bad as a Collision.
It feels like Collision lately, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like Collision lately. Anyway, the Mox promo is next, and this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. If you guys and gals haven't seen the Jon Moxley promo in the backstage area, do yourself a favor and go find this. Because the entire time this guy's cutting his promo, you hear people in the background. And Moxley trying to cut this promo, and you can see you can hear the fans visually see him because they're screaming shit down the hall at him.
They're not seeing him
the whole time.
This is something they cut backstage during a match, during one of these shows. That's what it is. It's not live.
No, I know it wasn't live, but you can tell that the fans were seeing him or somebody was seeing him backstage.
They were watching a match in the ring. They were watching a match in the ring. That's
Go back and listen again. You can hear people in the hallway he's in screaming shit.
Were they screaming his name?
No, just you're yelling. You can tell that they're yelling in his general direction. It's the craziest shit I've ever heard. He says, this is where it gets even worse. He says, take the rules. Take all the rules you want, Cope. We'll do whatever you want. We'll have a street fight, Cope. We don't need the rules. This is his wet dream. This whole thing was it was hilarious. He
With the
said,
fight Adam
and
Copeland?
this is what made me pop so hard. He says, that's the difference between amateurs and professionals. And when he said that, you hear somebody, no. Jesus Christ.
Somebody could have yelled out, Chelly's manager.
Dude, it was awful. This whole thing. What did you think of this god-awful moment? Brought to you by AEW, Dynamite included.
Buddy, when he's on screen, it's just the worst. He's vile to look at. He's vile to listen to. Like I said last week, he needs to take 6 months off, just disappear. Lose that title, go home, stay home with your daughter. Just stay off of TV, go wrestle in the indies somewhere, GCW. Why don't you go get a horse and go live in the mountains somewhere? Like Don Rickles said to Artie Lang in Dirty Work. Why don't you go get a horse and go live in the mountains somewhere? Leave me alone. That's what they should do. Look at you, little baby gorilla. That's what they should do. Just lay low for a while. How can we miss Moxley if he won't go away?
I will never miss Moxley.
I will never miss Moxley. He is the most ineffective member of the Shield. Look at Rollins. Look at Roman Reigns.
It's insane, right? To look at that in retrospect now, 10 years later, it's crazy to think these guys were once considered. Mox was once seen as the rising star in that group. Holy shit.
Can you imagine the shit that he talked about backstage that he wanted to do in the ring, that the agents and Vince said, what? What? God damn it, pal.
I can hear Vince right now. I just shit on somebody's head, and that sounds awful.
And I don't even like that. Look at that.
They call me the scat man. You're an idiot. This thing sucked. The next part of this was what you couldn't wait to get to: the hologram Hobbs versus Cage and the Baristista.
This is a guy who was wrestling Moxley for the belt a month and a half ago. Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs. Then he's wrestling Jericho and company. And now he's tied up with luchadors. What is going on with Powerhouse Hobbs? What the hell is happening in this company? Why would you just have why would you randomly pair Hologram and Hobbs with, who were they wrestling?
Brian Cage, and I think his name is Baristo. I think
Baristo or Drolistico?
I think it's Baristico, and he works at Starbucks is what I wrote down. Starbucks. It's Baristico, I think.
Yes. He hit Hobbs with a flying super latte.
Wait, no, that's later. That's hologram.
That's hologram. And we had a cameo appearance by Harley Graham.
Dude, I'm glad you brought this up. I said this when it happened in Australia a month ago. I said, this will in no way help Harley Cameron's career losing to Mercedes Moné. I said, get back to me in a month. She's going to be in a worse spot, and she's going to be in nothingness. Guess where she is now? She's in this dumbass mask, hiding her pretty face, doing bullshit with Hologram and Hobbs because she's, what the hell do they call this chick out here?
Harley Graham.
Yeah, just
Harley Graham, like she's a hologram groupie.
Yeah.
This was the number one contender for the TBS Women's Championship a month ago. And look where she's at now. Doing comedy spots which she's good at, comedy spots, but you have to see her face for her to be able to do comedy and see her facials. Her face is hidden by a freaking mask. And she's following Hologram around, who doesn't even know, we don't even know if he can understand what she's saying to him. But I'm just joking about that. That's neither here nor there. But this is the pecking order in AEW. I just don't understand the logic here. You try to look, I like Harley Cameron. I like Brian Cage.
I like Harley Cameron a lot, man.
I like Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yes.
I like, I like Kyle Fletcher. I do like Kyle Fletcher.
I like Kyle Fletcher.
Yes. I like Will Ospreay, as long as he doesn't speak. And he sells.
That's coming later. Jesus.
It's just they have all the tools they need to.
They got tools, pal.
They got the talent they need to put these people in the superstardom. But they're in the wrestling bubble. They are in a wrestling bubble.
They
Now,
are.
if you go to WWE, oh, well, you're the Fed. You're Fed heads. You're E-drones. If you walk up to somebody on the street and say, hey, who's John Cena? You ever hear of that guy? Oh, yeah, WWE John Cena. He's the Peacemaker. Yeah, he's in all these
He's a
movies.
star. That's
He's
a star.
How about The Rock? Oh, everybody knows The Rock is the biggest name in Hollywood. Even though some of his movies aren't doing that well anymore, the biggest name in Hollywood. Everybody knows who The Rock is. Dwayne Johnson,
There
The
you
Rock.
go.
The Undertaker. Everyone knows who The Undertaker is. Hulk Hogan.
Million commercials, been around everywhere.
Hulk Hogan with his
Yeah, Hulk Hogan's an icon at this point in time. Whether
he's
you
an
like him or
icon.
not,
He's got a lot of
but
faux
you know who he
pas,
is.
social faux pas, but everyone knows who Hulk Hogan is. Ric Flair, same thing. Now, you could argue these guys have been around for 50 years, the guys we're talking about. Not John Cena. How about Roman Reigns? He's
getting there. He's on the verge.
Right now, he's the Walmart Jason Momoa, but he's getting
he
there.
is.
He's going to be a big star.
Fast.
He really is. And CM Punk. Everyone knows who CM Punk is. You mentioned that name.
By the way, I want to give out a Motorhead real quick. AEW is still and will always be lost at sea. Hashtag SCM. Thank you so much, Motorhead.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you, brother, for the $5 spot. Super chat. Appreciate it so much.
The people in AEW, my point is, they're not getting the push to be superstars.
Well, they're
He doesn't
getting
know how to
pushes,
do it.
and then they get a push, and then they just gone in this direction for no reason. This is a prime example. Powerhouse Hobbs is getting tagged up with this hologram that he is obsessed with for whatever reason, where Hologram and Baristico do 15 moves to start this match. It's going nowhere. Man does a dive to the outside where it's a botch waiting to happen. And your boy Cage saved this move. He saved it into a suplex. That was not designed.
This guy dove through the middle ropes, Hologram did, and Cage caught him in a suplex position and lifted him up and gave him an overhead back suplex.
And it was great. It looked like $1 million damn dollars.
Beauty. A thing of beauty. Now, Cage isn't a real tall guy. What do you think he is, Don? 6 feet?
He's maybe 5'10".
Cage?
Yeah.
The look makes up for it. You can always put.
He's
lifts in
also
his
that
shoes.
wide.
Yeah, he's a wide dude. Yeah, he's a bulky dude. But
so this keeps going on. Hologram got saved from the horns by the chick, which was just ridiculous.
Harley Graham.
Yes, I just want to get to the end of this thing. The good guys win. Baristico messes a move up, by the way, with Hobbs and Baristico were not getting along in this match. Did you notice that? Well, Baristico gave him a live round, and Hobbs' face told the story.
It could be
bitch, if you hit me again.
Could be a language barrier, Don.
No shit, you think?
Could be a language barrier. Yeah.
Baristico kept screwing this thing up.
Dralistico.
No, Baristico.
Baristico? He's a barista.
Yes. He is a Baristico. Yes, that's his thing. This thing was sloppy as hell at the end. Out comes fat ass Mark Davis at the end of this thing with Chicken Hawk.
Who?
Fat ass Mark Davis.
That fat son of a bitch.
That fat bastard.
That
to
fat
confront.
bastard.
God, this thing sucked. Then we get the hurt people segment. That's how you do it. That's how you do a segment. Everybody go watch this. Everybody go watch this promo and this segment. This is how you look, talk, and act like a star. By the way, Bobby Lashley is on the verge of stardom. I think a lot of people know who he is because of his time in mixed martial arts.
I wouldn't go that far, pal. I wouldn't go.
I said he's on the verge.
He didn't say. I don't think he said a single word in that promo last night, did he?
Yes, he did.
Talked?
He said Gold's Gym. It was hilarious.
He said that's all he said.
Remember that? Because MVP was like, "You guys go out and celebrate. You've earned this. You guys go party. You guys go to Vegas. It's that way. You know, the beach is that way." And then in the middle of it, Bobby Lashley goes, "Gold's Gym is that way." He goes, "No Gold's Gym. No Gold's Gym." And at the end of the segment, the whole thing. Oh shit! The other guy. Why is his name escaping me right now?
Shelton.
Help me out. Shelton Benjamin goes, "We still go to the gym, boss." And then they just left. This thing was great.
And then MVP threw like the cherry on top of the whole promo segment. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. They look like stars. They talk like stars. They were great.
I loved everything about this. This was probably the best segment of the show in retrospect. I thought it was tremendous, everything they did, because then we get the Tony Storm segment, which I also thought was amazing.
Very good. She could be reciting the phone book, and you would still listen to what she had to say and look.
Alan Carl, I don't care. I can see it. No, she's so good at promos. Just don't, honey, you ain't got to bleed. And by the way, did you see the stitches on her face right here with that gash from the glass?
Yeah.
I've got an idea. I want you to hear me out. Let's stop doing stupid shit.
That's true.
If you're a good enough wrestler, you don't need this shit. You just don't, man.
That's true. You don't need it in every match on a show.
No.
Now, if they would have saved the blood from every single match on that show and all the hoopla and the gaga and saved it for the women's match, everybody would have been horrified at the women's match. Horrified, even more than what they already are.
Right.
That's how you would get that segment, the bloodletting and all that over with. You have to keep it isolated to one match. Just like in WWE. I hate to bring that up as a comparison, but they're the two biggest companies on the planet, WWE and AEW. WWE, they would say, well, you're not going through the announce table because Roman's
doing it later.
The main event.
They're doing it later.
Doing it later, so stay off the announce table. Shit like that, they would say. Save those
You're not
moments.
bleeding because we're going to have a busted open match with this cage. So stay out of whatever the hell that dumb shit is. So I want to cover this real quick because Megan Bayne comes out of nowhere and attacks her. Here's my question to you. Why wasn't Camille, who's bigger than Megan Bayne, treated with this kind of fanfare? She's got a very similar look. She was a badass. She looked the part. She can talk, by the way. I've heard her speak. She's actually got really good mic skills. So Megan Bayne is apparently the next opponent for Tony Storm. Whatever. I'll see where this goes. She hasn't said 2 words of shit coming out of her mouth yet. We'll see where this goes.
She said a lot to Thunder Rosa that one night in the ring. She was doing a lot of talking.
Yes, she did.
Thunder Rosa, but you couldn't hear it because the mics weren't on.
I'm not leaving this ring. That's what she told her.
Probably. Who is Megan Bayne?
The tall chick.
I know that, but who is Megan Bayne? Why is she there? What does she want? Why is she going after the Tony Storm title all of a sudden? Why don't they have an interview with her backstage while she's storming out of the arena? How did she
go from 3 weeks ago, 0, straight to the main event show? How did that happen?
You've got 59 backstage interviewers backstage who could all interview Megan Bayne. I'm sure she's going to trip over one of them like Paula folding chairs backstage. She'll trip over the folding chairs and the interviewer. Why not just interview her backstage and say, Megan, what you just attacked Tony Storm? What's going on? My name's Megan Bayne. I didn't come here to sit on the sidelines and wrestle bums. I'm here for gold. Tony Storm, you're in my sights. Later.
But we're not even getting that. We're just she's suddenly going to the front of the line. So we're just supposed to accept it.
Maybe she's got a lisp, pal. Maybe she's got a lisp. Who knows?
Let me tell you something, baby. I had a lisp, but I got over in Florida.
I look like I'm a tower of power. I'm too sweet to be sour. It took a lot to get into this outfit tonight, honey.
Your mother's a whore.
What? Megan Bayne looks like something out of the God of War video game series when she strolls out in that outfit, man. She's something else. That F5 move she does, she looks great. But
amazing models. I tell you what, I'd like to see her undercarriage. Baby, you got to calm down with that now. You can't be doing that. I told that motherfucker.
You have to jack her up, pal. Put her on the lift. Then you look at her undercarriage.
I look forward to it. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, ding-a-ling on the ring, ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling, ring-a-ling on the ding-a-ling.
Ding-bong on the ding-dong. Megan Bayne's got all the moves. She's got everything. She looks like a star. She looks like a superstar.
Let's move on, because we got to get to this.
Look. Camille is not in that position. Camille's off to the sides because Camille
had a voice and was not going to job out to everybody.
Right. And she was outed online as a right-wing conservative who was anti-abortion.
I'm not getting into what
I am just saying, and this is how this plays into it. This is all part of the story. She's a right-wing conservative who's anti-abortion.
Jericho and the Young Bucks are the same way. I don't buy that. I'm telling you, it's because she said, I'm not jobbing out to all these chicks.
She's not putting... Jericho and the Young Bucks aren't tweeting about shit like this online. Camille did. Camille did.
All right,
Camille
I'm moving
did.
on. I'm not getting caught up on this. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm moving on.
You're being ridiculous now.
No, what's ridiculous is Speedball Mike Bailey coming out looking like the Karate Kid. Johnny Cage is back, ladies and gentlemen.
That's pretty ridiculous.
No, this is ridiculous.
He
dude.
is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
Kick
this
pads, no
thing.
boots, barefoot. Aubrey Edwards is taller than Speedball Mike Bailey. And that was proven last night because she was refereeing his match with the Beast Mortos. She's taller than Mike Bailey. Speedball.
I know she is, yes. Speedball,
why would you
Mike
hire this
Bailey
guy? I wouldn't give a shit if he's a free
Man
agent or
Bear
not.
Pig. Man, Bear, Pig, and this guy were going at it.
Are you serial?
Yeah, I was super serial. This was god awful from start to finish. They're out here screaming this guy is a 4th degree black belt. Dude, what is this 1987? I'm dead serious, man. Karate was a thing in the 80s. Everybody that said they were a karate guy you thought might be a badass. This guy looked like a joke. Everything about him screamed the mid 80s. This whole thing, if they did this shit in the WWE, the neckbeards and the AEW freakazoids would have been shitting all over it. But because it's an AEW, they pretend like this is a good idea and a good booking decision. Everything about this from the start to the finish was a complete joke.
He's a lower card talent. He did nothing in TNA Impact. He's now in not MLW. Might as well be MLW. He's in AEW now. And he's the highest paid lower card talent they got, probably. And Tony's patting himself on the back. I got him. WWE didn't get him. I got him. WWE would never have hired Speedball Mike Bailey. They wouldn't have. Son, you got to get some shoes on, son.
Pablo says Camilla has heat with the Office per Disco. I believe that.
Yes.
I believe
absolutely.
she does.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
100%
They will
believe
single you out for your tweets online. Tweets that don't even pertain to the wrestling business. They will single you out for that. Just look at Kevin Kelly, how he fell.
No, I get Kevin Kelly.
Into
That's
that
going
boiling pot, which the lawsuit's still on, I believe.
I know what you meant, Pablo Camille. I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to cover this Speedball bullshit against Man Bear Pig. He beat Man Bear Pig in just a joke of a match. I don't want to talk about this much more because we get to Renee Baguette
In the back.
She's backstage with Christian, and he refuses to talk to her and says to get the hell out of here. He acknowledges something you've been screaming forever. Why aren't any of you dudes or chicks calling her out for being married to this putz? He said, I'm not talking to you. Your husband's a psychopath. Get the hell away from me. By the way, Pablo, thank you again very much. Glad to have you back here, brother.
That's what you got to do. Someone actually brought it up. And then
it worked.
And then he got into an argument with his adopted son.
Jesus, dude. We're still doing the dead dad gimmick, though, I see.
How bad was that?
It's awful, dude. It's just awful.
He's a good promo, but Mick Wayne's not a good promo. But
it's also low-hanging fruit in every regard, by the way. It's just the lowest hanging fruit. By the way, Nick Wayne looks like he's worked out some. He looks like he's got a little bit of size to him in the past year. He hasn't had any matches at all.
Yes, he has. He's had a couple matches.
He's had a couple. Dude, hold on.
I think they're on Collision, pal. They're on Collision.
Bottles. If you have a match and no one watches it, did it really happen?
If you had a match and no one watches but Aubrey Edwards, yeah, it did happen.
No, it didn't. This didn't happen. But yeah, they get into it. You can tell this split's coming. I don't give a shit. Get away from the dead dad gimmick.
Are you trying to tell me that pretty pink pony would lie about Nick Wayne having a match that she refereed? Come on now.
Nay.
Did Nick Wayne have a match, Aubrey? Nay. That means
Lexi
no.
is looking for MJF.
Yes.
Who's losing his shit backstage after the pay-per-view, but he comes out directly next.
Why would you do an interview for a guy who
just got his ass beat
and do a promo?
I don't get it. Anyway, MJF comes out to the ring, says he had the match won. He got cheap shotted. The other guy won. And I like that about it. I like that about a heel. When the heel says, I got cheap shotted, I got robbed, I can get behind that. Mm-hmm. But this is what threw me for a loop. MVP comes out.
This is how you get people talking.
This is how you get people talking. And he was like, you need to join us. We've been waiting on you. I remember you, kid. You said one day you were going to be the world champion. Come with us. MJF needs a shot in the arm of something, and I think that might be the right call. Pablo back again, put the title on Christian. He earned it. Old TNA.
Yeah.
I don't, but
If
again,
you put
it's just.
I would watch a Christian A Cage title run just for the promos. Not for the work, just for the promos.
But he's out of the title picture now.
They could do something about it. He's trying to get the contract back. Because if you checked his promo out last night, he said the referee conspired against him because it was supposed to be a one-on-one match with
against
Moxley.
Edge.
And they made it a three-way.
Edge once he won.
And they made it a three-way.
By the way.
Three-way.
Holy shit, I'm not reading that out loud, but somebody just said something in the chat that's beyond effed up, man. Good God. Thank you again, Pablo.
Do I have to look at this?
No, we're going to move on to Max Caster moment. Max Caster. I don't know what the hell is.
Jesus Christ.
Don't.
I'm not going to say it. They're having their own show again in the chat.
They really
Good Lord.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you something. If they've got the balls to do that, in AEW,
it'll never happen.
If they got the balls to do that, it would catch fire. It would. Everybody would be talking about that. If they could bring him in and get that going, have him be with Christian Cage. Can you imagine that?
I'm moving on to the Max Caster moment.
You forgot one thing. You forgot one thing. He roughed up Nick Wayne. He roughed him up.
I wouldn't say he roughed him up. He just sort of backed him down. He didn't really grab him or do anything.
He pushed him against the wall.
Yeah, and then Tess McGee tried to console him. I don't care.
Yes, she came in and he said,
Mother Wayne.
He said, "You'll be." What did he say? You'll be back waiting tables at Waffle House.
Something like that.
Yes.
We're moving on to the Max Caster moment. What are they doing with Max Caster? Because I'm really confused on what this is supposed to be, Bottles. Guys, gals in the chat, I don't know what they're doing with Max Caster, but he comes out every week, says he's the best in the world, talks shit, and then gets his brains kicked in within 10 seconds. And this was no different. Takeshita came out and kicked the shit out of him, pinned him, and it was over.
It's going nowhere. What this is a punishment for Max Caster. He must be a prick backstage in real life, and they're burying the guy on camera just like this. It's the if you look up the playbook of how to run a wrestling promotion, see Giovanni Vinci. Look that up in that playbook.
Dude.
That's what they're doing to Max Caster. He's going the Giovanni Vinci route. Maybe Anthony Bowens is hurt. That's why they're not having the big Acclaim versus Acclaim member match. Bowens versus Caster. They split up, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Daddy Ass is home collecting checks right now. He don't give a shit.
He's collecting checks and probably still taking a shower to get the stink of the Acclaimed off of him.
The next part we get is Jericho beating up Astronaut, who is apparently Bandito's brother, and he's trying to be a badass in this whole segment. So they're going to put that title on Bandito. You could see this coming. But I didn't know Astronaut's his brother, so whatever the hell this was supposed to be, it sucked. And Denisha said it earlier. I want to make sure I went back to her on this. This was bad, dude. Like, there's nothing. I don't see anything redeemable about Chris Jericho anymore as far as being an entertaining, captivating wrestler. Do you see any of this?
No, he knows. He knows the ride is over, and he's probably accepted it. He's on our Ring of Honor. He's on Ring of Honor to get him off of AEW television in the ring because he's horrible. That's why he's on Ring of Honor.
I don't know what this was supposed to be.
They're making people pay money to see the hardness, the horribleness of Chris Jericho.
Anyway, we get Willow Nightingale. She's back. We get Willow Nightingale back against Penelope Ford. And it wasn't horrible for what it was. It was short. It was sweet. It was to the point.
What a chair
but
shot.
I'm getting to it. But then at the end of this match, Penelope Ford gives Willow Nightingale what can only be explained as a Hulk Hogan-esque TNA chair shot. It's the worst goddamn thing you've ever seen. It's the worst chair shot they've ever done on this show, and that's saying something. She just, I hope it didn't hurt. Bitch, lay that shit in.
She sold that chair shot like John F. Kennedy in the back of a limo. She was Come on now. Come on now. Penelope Ford, just go away. Just take some more time off. Go. She's got a great look. She needs to go somewhere where they can train her how to wrestle. She's horrible. Horrible.
The Acclaimed, all that tag work for nothing, no payoff. I agree, Pablo.
Yeah.
No payoff. They were a great tag team. They were over, and then
Bowens is around. Bowens was at Elton John's. He was at Elton John's Grammy party. I'm just saying. That's where he was. Seriously, he was there. And then he was at the premiere of Queen of the Ring.
Which is bombing, by the way. We're going to talk about that after the AEW recap. But I want to talk about the chair shot. This chair shot was so awful. It has been all over social media. It's getting mocked by everybody. Hulk Hogan said, that didn't look good, brother. Like, it's just terrible, dude.
She was the one in the ring with Megan Bain when Thunder Rosa came out, right?
Yes.
Penelope Ford was. Why is Penelope Ford still on television?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Horrible. Like I said, I'm sure she's a nice person. She's got a great look. She's married to Kip Sabian, the bleach blonde kid who's with Christian Cage and family. But it's just, that work is horrible. She's got a husband who's a wrestler. I don't know why they don't work out together and do moves in the ring. And maybe he can teach her something. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it.
Anyway, Statlander comes out, but then Megan Bain shows up and she jacks up Willow and Statlander, so she's everywhere on this show. Renee is now with Mercedes Moné, who brags about her 15-0 record since she's shown up, and Billy Starks is here.
Mercedes Moné, by the way, has a bruised larynx. Bruised larynx.
Yeah, I know.
And you see the big bruise she had on the side of her face right here?
Yes.
That's from Momo kicking her in the throat and the face.
Well, Ligosaurus Rex has got to protect herself, pal.
She was sandbagging Momo in that match, and Momo didn't like it. Momo didn't like it. Momo woke her up, gave her a couple shoot kicks. Mitch. Yes, gave her a couple shoot kicks. That's what she needs to come off her high horse.
Anyway, Billy Starks come out for this thing. I'm
rushing through this. Say one more thing.
No.
I want to say one more thing about Willow Nightingale. You said last week Willow Nightingale looked like she lost weight. And I noticed it yesterday. She's lost a ton of weight.
Yes, she looks great. Yes. I thought she looked really good.
Yeah,
I'm moving past this Renee with Monet bullshit. I can't stand this. Ocean Spray is out with Tony Schiavone, and he is in trouble with his mic skills. Jesus.
All over the place. Just horrible.
Wow.
Horrible. This is why you need somebody to, ask them a few questions, hold the microphone, drive the interview, and then let them go. That's what you need to do. Instead, it was a 10-minute run. It was a 10-minute run, a 10-minute diatribe about how he's in trouble with his wife.
Osprey.
You
guys invented the language, and you can't even speak it. He was running into walls of nothingness with sentences and run-ons. The grammar was all over the place. He didn't know where to start and stop his promo. It was a car wreck live. This guy is awful on the microphone. That's the only way I can put it.
$1 million in the ring, 10 cents behind a microphone.
Did you see when he was about near the end of this thing? He took a big step back and smiled like, I'm doing great. He looked like a complete jackass.
The problem is when he goes backstage, Tony's there. You did great. It was fantastic. Go hands on the wall. It's just fantastic. It's great. It's great.
It was terrible, Bottles. This was a 10-cent interview. You know what this reminded me of? Was when Lex Luger was cutting that god-awful promo in the early 2000s when he was doing all these indie shows, and he couldn't get his shirt to come off, and he's just cutting the worst promo you've ever heard. He goes, your shirts are too tight, Eddie. He can't get his shirt off. That's what this was. This was Lex Luger, your shirt's too tight, bad. Good God Almighty.
Why would you do this to this kid? Why would you do this to him? He could be the biggest star. You got a shot at having him be the biggest baby face you've got. But like I said before, presentation is everything.
It is.
And he's got the presentation of a car wash worker, a DoorDash driver. That's what he's got the presentation of. And then when the bell rings, he's $1 million when the bell rings.
But again, but he's got to have that shit reined in, Bottles. He does everything all the time, man. You got to rein that in. You don't have to top every match. Sometimes all you have to do is have a good match, Bottles. It doesn't have to be a 5.5-star Dave Meltzer jizzed on himself again match. Stop putting your mindset that way. Have a career that lasts 10, 15 years.
Why wouldn't they have, if you have a good match, just have one big spot or maybe two big spots? Don't try to have a big spot followed by a big spot, followed by a big spot, followed by a big spot.
But they can't help themselves.
They can't help themselves. They've got the indie mentality of, I got to get all my shit in. I got to show everybody what I can do. Everybody knows what you can do, Will. You just have to, sometimes less is more.
Yeah, exactly, Bottles. Exactly.
Less is more.
So we're gonna move on to the Jay. By the way, Renee Baguette was everywhere. She's backstage with Jay White. They recap him hitting Edge with the briefcase.
It's 8:21. I'm already fed up with this. Go ahead.
Okay, well, he says, was this on purpose? He goes on and on. I thought this was a good moment. I really did. I thought this was a pretty good moment.
Well, Jay White.
Yeah, I really did.
I like Jay White. They're not doing him any kind of service whatsoever. I do like Jay White, but he's damaged now. He's damaged. He's not going to win a match against any name. He's going to win a match against he's going to win a match against the Beast Mortos or Max Caster or Anthony Bowens. He'll win a match against guys like that, of that ilk, but he won't win a match against the Ospreay or any of those other guys or Moxley. I hope these people are enormously compensated for spinning their wheels for the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, they are. MJF and Hangman are backstage again. I don't know where this is going. And then I said, I'm out because it's Orange Cassidy versus Demolition. I said, I don't need to watch this shit. I'm out of here. I literally just turned the TV off. I said, I'm not watching this shit, man. I don't care. I don't care how this thing turned out. I don't give a shit. I'm not watching another Orange Cassidy match. As God is my witness, I'm never watching this guy again.
I fast forwarded to the end to see if there's any kind of hoopla, any kind of gaga, any kind of crap, but there was none. There was none. It was just a straight up match. I think they knew that no one would be watching, so they just. Why would you finish the show with Orange Cassidy versus Bobo the Wolf Boy or whoever the hell he was?
I don't even know who the hell that was.
I don't even know. It didn't even bother. I can't even be bothered to recall who the guy was or to look it up online. I don't care. I just don't care. And that's the worst thing you do when you have an entertainment program. You got people now that just will not care. I love wrestling. I love professional wrestling when it's done right. And I just don't care. I'll let you know a little secret. Raw from Monday, I fast forward through most of the crap.
I enjoyed it Monday.
I really skimmed through it. I fast forward through most of it because I didn't like it. I didn't like a lot of it. I didn't like a lot of SmackDown.
I enjoyed most of Raw.
It's just the shows. I mean, if AEW
Raw is just too damn long. SmackDown is too damn long,
right. Man. If AEW Dynamite was 3 hours, I would just you would find me hanging from the roof of the garage. I'd be swinging.
I couldn't. I'm gonna throw this up there because she's a super chat subscriber. I had to throw her up here.
I knew Don turned off the TV on Pockets. Please show my comment, buddy. Enjoy.
I did, Denisha. I got the hell out of Dodge. I wasn't watching this trash. I wasn't going to do this. I said, to hell with this. I don't need this shit in my life. I'm going to go watch Night Court from 1985 and enjoy myself. I don't need this shit.
That's the time when I got to put on Me TV. Watch some real programming. Green Acres is on.
Is Finn Gooley on right now? Is he on?
Finn Gooley.
No Saturday? Okay.
Oh, it's Sam Drucker's on Green Acres, honey. Come on in here.
Dude, that show hasn't been on forever. So I'm just going to stop on that note. I'm not going to keep going and beating this up over and over again. There is some news I want to cover real quick. Devon Dudley has been released.
From where?
From WWE. He is no longer there.
I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, he was a backstage producer. He's gone.
He was gone before and came back.
He's gone. Yeah, but now he's gone.
Well,
they said they didn't have a position for him anymore, so it is what it is, pal.
Well, he had some heart problems years ago. Maybe the Dudley boys are going to make a return.
I don't think so. Look, dude, I've never seen that. Here's the other part about that, though.
Oof. What do you
the neckbeards are so angry at no shit. But what's his name from Busted Open?
I'm just remembering this right here. There you go.
No, what's his name from Busted Open? There's some Billy Ray.
Bully Ray.
They're mad as hell at that guy. They can't get over the fact that he doesn't love their favorite wrestlers in AEW. Everybody that's an AEW neckbeard is such a weirdo for not acknowledging the problems that they're having in this company. But I did want to cover this real quick. Jeff Cobb. I have no idea who Jeff Cobb is, but apparently he's been signed to the WWE, and apparently he's a big name that's a free agent.
Big New Japan guy.
Yeah, people like this guy. They love him.
Samoan.
I don't know who he is, so we'll see.
He's Samoan. He's been around.
Okay,
I think he was in
he was in New Japan, I know that, but it doesn't
Wasn't
matter.
he in Pride years and years ago? Pride
What,
was
with
like
the
a
flag and
shoot
all?
style. No, Pride was like a shoot style kind
that
of promotion.
Pride, yes.
Yeah.
I've heard of that, yes.
Well,
It doesn't matter.
He's Samoan.
It doesn't matter. I don't know who this guy is. People are losing their shit over it. I don't care. I'll see him when he gets here. New Japan is just a dead brand to me, quite honestly. No one watches this shit anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore.
It was killed by a young boy from Jacksonville, Florida.
He did gut their talent, man. They were having a really big run, and he died. I mean, it died. So, anyway, that's all I got, Bottles.
CJ Perry and Miro are back together. Have you heard this?
Oh, shit, that's right. I did hear about this.
They recently renewed their wedding vows.
Wait, it gets better. A year from the date they filed for divorce,
yes,
they renewed their wedding vows.
Yes. I saw somewhere in California, Miro was wheeling around her grandfather in a wheelchair, and she's standing there smiling. They took him out for a day on the town.
Do you know how weird that is, Bottles?
What's that?
You know what the rumors are? I've heard them too.
What rumors?
Brah was CJ Perry and some other men in her life. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, yeah. It was a rumor.
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest was a big thing last year, the year before.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Then she was in AEW, and they almost had to cut her finger off. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
She was. They had a stanky wooden rail on the steps where you come out from off the stage.
Yes, she got a splinter was infected the shit out of her hand.
Because they've got all this shit all over themselves when they come out of the ring, sweating and bloody and all this drool and pus and sweat. And as they grab the rail to walk down, it transfers over. And lucky little CJ got a little dose of that. Twice.
That's kind of weird, dude. That's just a weird thing to me. Renew your vows when you know that's happened.
What's that?
Bruh.
The Damian Priest, her out of the town, all this stuff.
Yeah, her getting hurt locked. How's that?
Hurt locked. Well, maybe they really do love each other, pal. Maybe it's a happy ending for both parties involved.
I hope so.
God bless them, CJ Perry and Miro. Whatever. Good Lord. I see they brought back one of the Vaudevillians on Monday Night Raw. Did you see that?
Who?
Simon Gotch.
I didn't see him at all.
Simon Gotch, he was in the front row. He got pulled into the ring.
Oh, that was who got pulled. I didn't recognize the dude.
They said his name was Andrew Schultz. That must be his real name.
Yeah. No, you dickhead. That's Andrew Schultz, a comedian, you asshat.
What's that?
Which, by the way, if you don't know who Andrew Schultz is, I can't help you. That guy is hilarious.
Andrew Schultz is a comedian from YouTube. He's got his own YouTube show, doesn't he? There he is right there. There's Andrew Schultz.
All right.
All right, then.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification
Look, there he
button.
is.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
there he is. This
He's
is when he
been
was in
on Joe
WWE
Rogan's show.
as a vaudevillian. There he is.
Dear God in heaven.
What?
Bottles, I can't help you sometimes, pal. There's no
saying,
bringing
pal.
you back. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. I know one guy that enjoyed himself tonight.
I got one more.
Oh,
one more piece of business.
It better be serious.
Queen of the Ring we have to talk about.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
Let's talk about Queen of the Ring. And that statement that one of the
bombing.
actresses made.
It's bombing.
Yes, it is.
It's falling on its face. It's only in 800 theaters. They're not taking this as a serious film. It's not going to do well in the theaters. They were better off releasing this thing on Amazon right away. Yeah. I would have bought it day of for $30 and questioned nobody, because at least that way I don't have to go to the theater and deal with all these chuckleheads jerking around on their phone, taking calls, texting their mom, all that bullshit. They should have done this right away. And the actresses that they interviewed at the AEW pay-per-view said, one thing I learned is that wrestlers know the outcome before they even have the match. And somebody should have suplexed that bitch on the spot.
She said, you know you're going to win before you even had the match. And Camille had to do damage control on Twitter. She came out, no makeup. She said that
I did see that. Yes,
she paraphrased it, basically saying that you had the winner's mindset before you even entered the match. The winner's mindset. You knew you were a winner going into the match.
I can't wait to watch this movie. I really can't. I think it's going to be a good movie. It's gotten a lot of good critics saying it's great.
Right.
I look forward to it. I look forward to our next show. I want to thank everybody again. Have a good night.
Till next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.